Welcome to another video on the channel where we talk about my anti-procrastination system for INTPs. Now, as you can see from the title of the video, this does consist of multiple parts. This will just be the first video in this segment or on this topic, basically. So let's just get into it. So this system again is specifically for INTPs, and we'll get into why that is in a bit. But I created this nothing's perfect, but this pretty fucking good system for eliminating procrastination as an INTP. So in this video, I'll just show you exactly how I beat procrastination using this system and how you can get it set up too. Just real briefly, my procrastination back in 2022 to 2023 was not good. I procrastinated like crazy. I would get done about 3 hours of uni work a week. To be honest, procrastination had always been an issue, right? Throughout high school, uni, I dropped out of uni because of procrastination, and then I went to college. And even then, my graduation thesis in college took me 9 months, where I should have been able to get it done in 4 months. And the effects on that, I went over this in a previous video, but I had a lot of self-hatred. I felt like a disappointment to my parents. I had this dreadful, agonizing period that I only escaped through mercy, which is because during my graduation thesis discussion towards the end, my professors basically just let me pass because they felt like I wasn't able to actually completely meet the criteria to pass. And also very important, I had no time left to do the things that I truly wanted to do, right? I was too busy procrastinating. I'm sure you can relate to this. When you're not doing the work you're supposed to do by procrastinating, you're still not doing the things you actually want to do, right? You're escaping from that reality. You're distracting your mind to get rid of whatever is causing you to procrastinate. Again, we'll get into that in a bit, but you can be too busy procrastinating to actually live life the way you want to. So the system. Over the past years, I've been trying to figure out a productivity system that works for me, because I've read all of the books. They're right there. Atomic Habits, Feel Good Productivity, Deep Work, The War of Art, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've read many books on productivity and procrastination. I've also watched all of the YouTubers. Ali Abdaal, Better Ideas, Improvement Pill. Chris Williamson has Procrastination and Productivity podcast. Dan Coe has videos on productivity. Andrew Huberman has videos on it. I've watched it all. I've also gone through the premium trainings on INTPs on 16personalities.com. I've tried it all out. I've experimented with things. And I've continued to educate myself on and on to tweak, iterate, emulate, etc. continuously. Because it took me a long while to put this together, to put something together that I can stick to, that works for me specifically as an INTP without betraying myself or trying to do things that simply don't fit me. And this is basically what I have come up with. The INTP 2.0 system is what I call it. Now, just real briefly, an INTP 2.0 is an INTP that no longer procrastinates. Again, get into that in a little bit in the following 2 segments. But the system is quite simple in and of itself. It's a Google Doc where you have a foundation and where you have a vision to action pyramid. You have Google Sheets for tracking. You use Google Calendar and tasks together for obvious reasons. And then you use Trello for workflows and to-dos. Now, what is the difference between a task and a to-do? A to-do is something that can be done in the future. It has to get done at some point. A task is more urgent or has to get done at a specific time. Now, before I get into the actual Google Doc and the Google Sheet, let me show you the procrastination pyramid. Because in order for you to set up the system, you need to know why we set up this system this way. And in order to do that, you need to understand the procrastination pyramid. So as you can see, I've outlined 4 levels to this pyramid. Habitual neurological at the bottom, psycho-emotional, overanalyzing, and then play. Now, what this means is the following. The first level of procrastination is habitual neurological. That's why it's at the bottom. It's the broadest. This is also something that many other personality types, just people in general, struggle with, because this is due to video gaming, social media, all of these things that are lower effort and more stimulating than your homework, your work, writing a report, whatever it is that you have to do, right? In other words, you are more motivated to do something else than to do what you need to do or what you're procrastinating on. You simply almost choose to do one thing over the other. This happens to everyone, not just INTPs. So this type of procrastination is about getting started. You don't even really want to begin. The second level then is psycho-emotional. So let's say that you do want to begin. You put away your PlayStation, you ad blocked Instagram or TikTok or whatever. You got rid of it. It's no longer restricting you. And let's say even you do this for a longer period of time. So you're sort of dopamine detoxed. You're more at a healthy baseline. That still doesn't mean that you won't procrastinate, because you still have psycho-emotional procrastination. So you want to begin, but something is holding you back, something psycho-emotional. And this is something that INTPs will have more than other personality types. Why? Multiple reasons, mainly because as an INTP, you're perfectionistic. You see a lot of pathways, you see a lot of opportunities for things you could do well, which is impossible to all get done, but you still feel bad about it as an INTP. That's that perfectionism. Also, just generally, INTPs are not the most social, don't have this social network around them that can always support them. They feel misunderstood, etc. So there can be various things. Usually it's some sort of fear. It's basically always some sort of fear that is holding you back from doing something, right? Now, let's say you do resolve that, you overcome a certain fear, then there's still procrastination by overanalyzing. And this is almost specific or like INTP exclusive. Not completely. There's other overthinking and hyperanalytical personality types, but this is where we get, again, closer, higher up the pyramid, more niche. And so let's say that you do want to begin. You have the motivation, you have the dopamine, real simple, and you don't have a fear to hold you back. You can still procrastinate because you fuel all of that into the wrong thing. You go and fuel that into going back to the drawing board, as I like to call it. I'm sure you can relate to this. You finally say, forget about it all. I don't even want to play video games. I don't even want to scroll on social media. I don't even want to watch Netflix, eat junk food. I'm done with it all. I'm confident. I don't have fear. I'm just going to get it done. And then what do? Do you actually act? Do you actually execute? Do you actually create? No, you say, you know what would be the best thing for me to do right now? I'm going to use all this energy that I have to create a new plan, a perfect plan. I'm going to go back to the drawing board and create some sort of plan, some sort of system that works, that I can stick to forever, but it's usually built upon your state of being, which is motivated and fearless. And then the next day you wake up and the system is simply something you don't stick to anymore. Anyways, this is because you have such a love or tendency for systems and analysis. And again, you need to solve it. It's procrastination. Again, our analyzing skills is a strength. Don't not analyze, but you basically always do it by default because you enjoy analyzing. So very rarely do you need to do it more. And if you do, you need to do it in a structured sort of way where you actually stick to something that will get you to where you want to be. Once you solve all of this in the procrastination period, you get to play. You get to actually just enjoy it without getting distracted, without feeling fear, without feeling afraid that you're not going to do well, without getting back into analyzing. You just play, you just create. Now, to be honest, it's not always that easy, right? Because there can be something in between play and procrastination. Let's say you do solve procrastination. You solve the motivation, dopamine, habitual neurological. You solve the fear, so psycho-emotional, you solve, overanalyzing, then you still have to get productive as well, because procrastination is just about getting from not doing anything to doing something. Productivity is about working then with focus and effectiveness. And then performance is about increasing how many hours you can do productive work. So real simple. Procrastination is from not doing work to doing work. Productivity is from getting more done when you're working. Performance is about increasing how many hours you can work, focus, and effectively. That all requires that you have some sort of reason to do it, some sort of purpose. It can be your purpose or just a general purpose like graduating, getting something done, whatever. So all the way at the bottom, you have your purpose. Once you no longer procrastinate on it, once you get productive on it, and once you perform well by focusing on sleep, nutrition, supplements potentially, etc., then you get to play, which is where you want to be as an INTP. If you can just do work that you enjoy doing, do it well, etc., etc., you're going to just play. It's going to be perhaps one of the most important things in having a healthy mental health, etc. So those are the 5 P's. These are the 4 elements of the procrastination pyramid. And so now let's go into the INTP 2.0 system setup. So real briefly, you do some sort of reset to start, right? Some sort of dopamine detox. I've added some videos that I think are helpful for getting you sort of motivated and encouraged to do a reset, but you all know the drill. You don't do things that are very easy and very fun so that you can do things that are more difficult and less fun, but that will get you rewards in the long term, or the things that you simply need to do. So you make a bit of a plan for this dopamine detox, this reset. And I've added some ideas that you can add. It's all up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but generally sleep more, do less, and just get into healthy habits. And then you can also like clean, declutter, tidy, organize, whatever. Throughout this entire process, you can just add things here, right? So let's say you are in school still, you'll have general ideas. You might have ideas about studying, ideas about homework. Just add them here, right? Sort of like a second brain. Here's where we get into the actual vision to action pyramid. So you have your vision. Me personally, I've added this into a master vision Google Slides and then a master plan where I simply go into like week by week, month by month, year by year, what my plan is. You can also make a roadmap. You can do future pacing, which is basically where you experience what your life will be like once you've gotten to a certain result. You can use AI to sort of help you with that, feed you that. Anyway, I hope it's clear that this vision to action pyramid is where you take your ultimate vision, whether that's for the world or just your life, and you boil it down into steps, smaller and smaller, eventually getting to the concrete actions that you need to do. The reason we do that is because this solves this habitual neurological procrastination, right? We continuously remind ourselves of what we're ultimately trying to accomplish so that we feel more motivated to do things, the concrete actions that we need to do to get there. Again, once you've solved that, you're still going to feel fear. That's where the second and third videos on this topic will come into play. So once you figured out your vision, either for your life or the world or both, you come to your mission and you can sort of boil it down. This is where you really want to use the power of narrative as much as possible. So you have your big vision for the world or your life. There will be sub-missions along the way in order to realize that vision. Now, on the path to making that mission or fulfilling that mission, you will have enemies. Always. And so you need some sort of identity, some sort of practice, some sort of superhero character that you stick to in order to overcome your enemy, to accomplish the mission, to fulfill the vision, blah, blah, blah. So let's say your vision is that the country that you're in becomes completely organic in terms of its agriculture. Your mission then might be to write a plan that works for that, to educate yourself, to talk to other people, unfortunately. Whatever it is, this is real simple, right? Your enemy mostly is procrastination. In this case, of course, like big agro companies, whatever. Your identity then is someone who gets the things done anyway, right? So if your enemy is procrastination, then your identity is that of an action taker. And if your enemy is some sort of big lobby that you're fighting against, you're, I don't know, an activist or thought leader, whatever it is. This is for you to fill in. Then we zoom into that identity, because this is where I found that change really happens. Once I started seeing myself as an INTP 2.0, an INTP action taker, I really started to solidify my changes. So, like we said, you might say to yourself, I'm an action taker. So you have the identity of an action taker. You say, I'm an action taker. I can type like shh. I'm an action taker. I get up early. I get things done. And only then do I do things I like to do, like read, get lost in thought, whatever you like to do as an INTP. There will be multiple identities that you need in order to get done what you need to get done. Then you have your goals. So you can do this two ways. You can either go very small to very big, or the other way around, very big to very small. And again, I do all of this myself. So right now, I know what I want to get done this week, in the next week, in the week after that. After that, it's already going to be a new month. So I have goals for October, goals for November, goals for December, goals for Q4, goals for 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. And you just fill that in. And you go over this every single morning, and I'll show you that in a bit. To remind yourself and to have this as a foundation. You have your mindset. You can add as much as you want into here. Generally, for example, you might tell yourself in the intention section, my goal is not to get it done perfect. My goal is to get it done. You might want to reframe something like a fear you have, like if I don't do well in this exercise, I'm going to get, or like my parents are going to get mad at me, or whatever it is. You can reframe that and simply get logical with yourself, write it all down and repeat it every single day. You can do affirmations as well, whatever it is, whatever you want to do. Here's where we get to the actual systems. So what I do is I have non-negotiables for my life. They're personal and they're occupational. So personally, I want to get 9 hours of sleep every single day. I want to exercise every day, and I want to eat 100% good food. Then in terms of your occupation, and again, these are for you to choose, but they work for me. For your occupation, there will be certain habits that you want to get done every single day. Now, the system again, you use Google Docs for your vision, to action pyramid, and for the foundation. So your IDs to jot down, your reset. This is like a baseline document. Sheets for tracking, Google for calendar and tasks, Trello for workflows and to-dos. I'll show you this all in a bit. Let's actually just jump into it straight away, into these habits that I mentioned. So yeah, let's do that. I recommend Trello. Again, I'm sure there's different things you can do, but these work for me. So I'll open up real quick my Google Sheets tracking system, where I have my habit tracker, my input sheet, and then you can put this all into like some sort of dashboard for on a weekly or monthly basis, whatever you want. But when I get habits done, I can check them off, And when I get my non-negotiables done for the day, I can check them off, right? It's simply that system, simple. When I don't do them, I usually delete them and color them red. Now, the goal, of course, is to get done everything. The reason that I chose this setup with the habits is because of the following. What you want to do specifically will change every day. So you can't add habits that are too specific. You can't ask things in your tracking system that are too specific, because what will happen is you will do something. Let's say in your morning routine, let's say habit 1 is your morning routine. Let's say you say to yourself, I want to get up at 6 a.m. But then for whatever reason, let's say you start having obligations later in the nights, you can no longer get the amount of hours you want to get in bed, sleeping done between your obligation and that. Then you might change your morning routine to getting up at 7 a.m. And I'll show you what I use Trello for then, is that you can change the specific tasks that make up a habit. So let's say that habit 1 is indeed your morning routine. And let's say after your morning routine, you want to get to studying or you want to get to writing, let's say. Your morning routine might be getting up at 6 a.m. and then a shower. But what if you want to add, subtract, or change things within your morning routine? You can simply do that within Trello without having to mess up your entire system here. So you add something to it, like, I don't know, coffee. You then change it from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. You do that all here in Trello. Same thing for all of your other habits. I momentarily have habit 1 and habit 7 as a morning and a night routine. Do whatever works for you. You can remove these, of course, if you want. But this is what I use. And just check them off and try to get them consistently. Again, this is a way of gamification, a way of making this more fun. You can challenge yourself to get everything done today. You can challenge yourself to do your morning routine every single day this week, etc., etc. Then your inputs, again, this will change so much based on what you do. The only one I've added is how many hours you've worked. It's not really relevant per se. It can be, but just add into here what you need to get done in terms of inputs. So this is Trello, and this is the sheets for tracking with the habit tracker and the input tracker. And then Google Calendar is the last part of this. So what I do, I just have sleep, and I try to not add anything into Google Calendar unless they're like specific appointments, meetings, things that take place on a specific moment. But all of my to-do list, all of my tasks now, I don't time block anything. I just know every single day what I need to do because I have Trello for my workflow, that I get things done that way. So that is basically the system. There are some bonus things you can do. You can add rewards to yourself. So let's say that you were in the last 2 to 4 months of a study, or you're in an important phase in your career, whatever. Why should you get the things done that you want to get done? Well, there's certain rewards you will get anyway, but then you can add rewards to that yourself. So if you, for example, you can do these input based. So let's say you get all of your non-negotiables and habits done for a week. You get to buy something, eat something, whatever, enjoy something. Then there's enemies you can add to that. Fear is usually a big enemy. You can make like a list of enemies. You can make a list of mentors, people that you really want to focus on, because you shouldn't have too many mentors. You shouldn't have dozens of people that you learn from when it comes to your productivity or your health. You just try to focus on specific people, at least during, again, a 4-month period. You can redo this entire vision to action sheet every quarter, every year, whatever you want to, right? And then you can add your layer. So this is like my room. This is where I'm sitting right now, right? Then I have my bed behind me, whatever. You can add that to it, because what I did is, before I came back home after traveling for a while, I said to myself, this is how I'm going to lay out my room. I'm going to completely redo it, just because your environment can give you like a fresh boost. And then you can have bonus things like you make a planning. You can do your reflection. And if you have like support calls for whatever reason with anyone, when it comes to, let's say school, you can add various calls and add your notes in here again, because this is like your foundation sheet. So that is basically the INTP 2.0 system. It can sound a bit complex. Again, you're using this every single day, so you'll get used to it easily. It's not all that difficult, and you can always make any change you want to make it work for yourself. This is just what I use, what I found works for me, and why I think it works for me. Now, if you want a copy of the Google Doc that I'm in right now, including the links to the system setup and the tracking system, you can just use the second link in the description of this video. That link will take you to my free community for INTPs, where you can join 55 other INTPs to discuss all things INTP, mostly at the moment procrastination, productivity, things like that. You can get access to my extra trainings. I'm going to make one on Ikigai, so finding your purpose. I'll have more in there anyways. And we do a weekly Q&A at the moment. So if you have any questions, feel free to join. If you're too introverted, or you tell yourself that you're too introverted for a call like this, you can also just DM me over there with any questions you have or topics you might want to discuss with me. So what changed for me when I started using the system, just to be clear, I went from 3 to 50 hours a week of mental work with this system. I have studied on the side, so on top of that, those 50 hours, how I can start my own dream business, educating myself a lot on that through books, through YouTube, through programs, whatever. I've now actually quit my job where I put in those 50 hours of work every single week to go all in on this YouTube channel and the things around it. And so I am never going back to anything else in terms of productivity. And I will just continue to use this system for my own business. Of course, this system will change, but I simply realized, and I'll get into that in a bit, that you need to remind yourself of what you're trying to get done. And this is the base for that. Vision, boil it down to the concrete actions in Trello, and it works. Again, mindset, identity is all important, can sound vague, but once you really have something that you care about and you want to get it done and you sit down to do it every single day, you're going to want to change and consciously pay attention to your identity, your self-image, things like that. I'll make videos about that in the future because it's very important, but things like psycho-cybernetics, reality transurfing, all those kinds of books, they really, really help. I feel like I'm on a high level of conscious. I'm more loving, more present, all of that. I have more faith in my ability to figure things out, which is key as an INTP, because if you stay stuck in wanting to figure things out beforehand, you'll never get things done. You're permanently stuck in procrastination. So if you can develop faith in your ability to figure things out by having something to fall back on in the form of this system, you get more done. You feel less fear. I feel amazing. Conclusion. Again, use a system, and this can be something completely different. You can do whatever you want, but use a system for falling back on and for tracking. Why? If you don't track anything, how do you know if you're doing well or not? Plus, again, that element of gamification. Then this is what I was talking about. You need to remind yourself. This Nietzsche quote is one that I've known for quite some time and that I found really valuable. The most fundamental form of human stupidity is forgetting what we are trying to do in the first place. When you get down to do work, when you sit down, you have a certain project that you need to get done for work, for school, for whatever. Oftentimes, as an INTP, you get lost in thought, not just about like completely different things, but you also get lost thinking about what might happen if you don't do this well, what might happen if this or that. You don't need to imagine all that, right? There's this different quote says like, anxiety or worry is such a waste of imaginative power. Use your imagination for good things. You can imagine great things as an INTP. Don't worry too much. And the way you do that is by not forgetting what you were trying to do in the first place. If you want my help with any of this, to set this all up for yourself, you can actually book a call with me with the first link in the description. That's completely free, and We can also talk about other things, INTP related or in general, right? But what I can help you with mainly is just to set this all up. So if you're having doubts about things within the vision to action pyramid, if you're struggling with Trello, if you have any questions, whatever, you can book a call with me. Let's just talk. I know some people are saying that they're too introverted for those kinds of things. Really, again, it's a form of procrastination. These calls are just one-on-one calls. INTPs or introverts are great at one-on-one interactions. Extroverts, or more so than extroverts, we're less social, of course, but don't let that hold you back. I don't bite. And we can talk about whatever. You can also just do this on your own. Again, I'll give you access, if you join my free community, to the systems and this general document for free without having to talk to me. That's no issue, but get it done. And if you feel like your procrastination is going to hold you back from getting this done or from getting things done in general, feel free to book a call with me. That was it for this video. I don't know how long I made it. It is whatever it is. Again, use the links below, and stay tuned for the next videos, because again, I quit my job, so hold me accountable. Okay, I have all the time in the world. I want to make valuable videos, valuable content for you guys. So keep me accountable. Let me know how you find this, how it works, or how things are going with implementing it. And yeah, talk to you guys in the next video.